Hi everyone, this is Sandy from Scrapbooks Blessings Club, and I have our third part tutorial on Prismacolor pencils. I'm using the soft core round pencils and odorless mineral spirits. So let's go ahead and get started. Today is going to be clothes. So we've already done the skin, the eyes, and the hair, and those were on videos 1 and 2. I'll pull it up here for you. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the clothing. And the colors I'm going to use for this right now are going to be, let me see here, Process Red PC 994. We're going to do Mulberry, which is PC 995. And then we're going to go ahead and do Violet, which is PC 932. And we're also going to use silver. So let me grab my tin real quick. Pull it over here. I have a tin of 48 colors that I got on eBay for $34, and that included the shipping, versus going to Michael's or Joann's and paying $99 for the set. So you can get some wonderful deals on eBay if you want to look for Prismacolor pencils. Okay, so we're also going to use this silver, which is PC 949. I'll go ahead and I'll put the numbers on the description below this video, along with the link of the stamp we're using, which is Lolita Valentine. She is a My Bestie stamp. You can find her at addictedtoscrapbooks.blogspot.com, which is the Scrapbook Stamp Society. And there is an Etsy store also. So I'll put both links below in the description. So you can go ahead and check her out. And there are hundreds. I mean, I was floored by the amount of digital stamps that I saw, My Besties. And they're all cute. So let's go ahead and get started. Now we're actually only going to be using 2 colors. We're going to use the Process Red and the Mulberry for her dress. And the reason I'm only using 2 and not coloring the whole image with a very light pink or anything like we did with the hair and the skin is because I want a little more definition. I want her to seem more rounded and not flat. And I can do that using these 2 colors. So let's get started. First, I'm going to take the Process Red. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm just going to outline the sides of her. So if you saw the videos for the other 2, the hair and the skin, you'll know that I like to do line coloring, which makes it look like there's a spotlight shining right on her, right in front of her. So that means most of my highlights are going to be in the center of the image. And now we're going to continue that down here. And this is the easiest way to get some highlights and some light, especially for a beginner. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just coloring the sides. I'm going to skip the little belt here, and then I'm going to go ahead into the dress, skirt, color around the little boa, come down and around. Now, I'm not being too precise in my coloring down here because I'm going to do a lot more with the other colors to give me a lot more definition. Right now, I just want to lay my base color down, which is the Processed Red. Now, the same for over here. I'm going to come up and around. And then I'm going to get over here on the side where her little arm is. It's covered with a little glove. That's it. Ball moment. Okay, just kind of get the lines there. And over here. Now what I'm going to do is take my blending stump, right here and use my OMS, which is my odorless mineral spirits that I got at Walmart's. Nice big container for $5. I'm going to wet the end of my stump. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend and break down that color, those lines. And all my blending, I'm not going to do circles, how we did for the hair and everything. What I'm going to do is kind of do like lines. And I'm pushing that color towards the middle. But I'm not covering the hole. So it kind of leaves a line there in the middle. And this is like what I like to call as my first layer. So all I'm doing is just pushing that color down towards the middle of her dress. And this is going to help give her a rounded torso and body. She won't look flat. Okay, and keep going. And then the reason I didn't do the pink is because I want more of a white shine. And you can do the same with the hair and the face. If you don't, well, I like the light peach for the face though. That's kind of like a must. But a lot of people like to do the hair where they like to have the white highlights. And I think that looks the best if you use like black. But what you need to do is you're just going to play around with it and find what works for you. Okay, so you might like using more of the white and less of the light colors. And like I said, this is just like I really made these for somebody who wants to try out the Prismacolors. It's just a very quick and easy tutorial, tutorial just to show you a very quick and easy way of coloring your digital stamps or your stamp images. You can do this with stamps too. If you do this with stamps, I like to use the Memento ink Tuxedo Black. It dries really nice and it doesn't smear. There's my smear word again. If you saw in my videos, I like smear. It doesn't smear when you use the odorless mineral spirits. Okay, now what I'm going to do is where that white part is, I'm just going to lightly kind of join that. There we go. So in a way, I'm still getting my light pink. I'm just doing it by blending out the processed red. And I'm going to come in here in the flower there. Okay, so let me move this up for you so you can see a little bit more of where I'm getting some nice shading on the sides and getting some nice highlights in the middle. And I just noticed by looking at my other two videos that this looks kind of pale out, and I think it's because of the lighting. I'm doing this in daylight and I'm noticing it's making a big difference. So what I'll do is I have the card posted so you can see more of the true color and more of the blending. And then just use the video of more like techniques. Suggestions. Okay, now what I'm going to do is taking the mulberry, which we said was PC 995. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline her again. But this time I'm going to go around the boa on either side because I want some shadowing. So my mulberry is going to be a lot of shadowing. Okay, I'm going to put a little line on each side of her torso because I want it to look like it's curved. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here underneath, and I'm just going to do a little bit under her belt, like her belt's going to be over her dress. A little bit over here, Now this is the fun part. What I'm going to do is, you see the little lines? I'm going to go up the lines and make them bigger. You're probably thinking, why are you making them bigger? Well, I want to get more of a dress folds, like there's little folds of the dress. So I'm going to use that color to my advantage, those lines to my advantage with my color, and kind of accentuate them. And like I've said before, this is kind of like layering, you know. I can go back. You can always go back. And then add more color if I want. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to move this mulberry in as far as I did on the processed red. I'm just kind of blending out the line. You hear that a lot. So I'm still going to keep that mulberry right where it is. I'm not moving it too much. I just don't want a harsh line. So I'm just kind of like tapping or dotting. There you go. See, so now we're starting to get some nice highlights. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just kind of go up, kind of like I'm flicking up, and try to get that. So if you can see, you'll be able to see on the card a little bit better. But you can definitely see where there's some light here from when I push the processed red. Then you can see the red and then the mulberry. So that's how I'm getting my folds. I'm getting some nice highlights in the folds by using this technique. Okay. I'm just kind of pushing up where to be the folds of the dress. Up in here. And then I can go ahead if I want, and I can lay a little bit more of the color down. Or I can go ahead and add a little bit of color, which I'm going to do right now by introducing the violet. And this is the dark, dark purple. And I'm just putting on the undersides of my dress just to get more of the highlights on the dress folds. Make them a little more predominant. And then very gently go ahead and blend them out. There we go. And then taking my other side, flip my blending step, I'm just going to kind of blend them all towards the middle now. There we go. And then last but not least, I'm going to take my processed red, and I'm just going to put a little line right around the flower there. And then coming up, a little line around the leaves. Because I want it to look like there's just a little shadow. I'm actually going to take my very skinny stump. I just want it to look like there's a little shadow on the dress from where the flower, the blossom, is laying on her lap. And just kind of blend that out into her dress. Okay, so now it looks like the blossom. So now I have my nice highlights on the top folds of my dress right here, and then especially over here on her torso, her chest area, under her belt. Okay, And since I have my small little blending step, what I'm going to do is for her lips, I'm just going to dot a little bit of color. I'm not covering her whole lip, just a little bit of color. And then taking that color, I'm going to go ahead and just blend it to the other side of the mouth, so that way it looks like she has a little bit of highlights on her lips too, like her lipstick's kind of, you know how you have that shine when you take a little picture? Okay, so we got lips and dress now. Now we're going to go ahead to the ruffle. And this one I'm going to do just a little bit different. I'm going to take my Process Red and I want to color in lightly. I'm not pressing very hard. I'm just doing a very light color. And I want to blend that in. Get my stump here wet. Okay, I'm just going to blend that. I'm not even being very careful with my blending. That way I can get some little white peeking through too, because this is going to be her little ruffle, little under petticoat, under dress part. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take my violet, and using my violet, I'm going to go ahead and just trace all the little curlicues and circles and wavy lines that was going to make up her frilly part of the skirt at the bottom here. And I'm doing that in purple and the violet. Now what I'm going to do is take my blending stump and I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. I'm getting on the, right now I'm kind of lining the underneath part here. Okay, now, oops, I missed a little part right here. There we go. Now, I don't want to cover all of the pink, you know, the Process Red that I put on lightly. So I'm just kind of pushing this again to get the stark line out. Kind of turn this. And then I'm going to go under and little circles underneath. And break up that line. So it looks like the underneath here part is, so it looks like this top pink is laying on this little pretty purpley ruffle. Okay, to finish her up, I'm going to go ahead and take the violet on the shoes and I'm just going to outline in a thin line both sides of the shoe. Do the same over here. Get my blender. Now what I'm going to do is the same thing I did up here where I push. I'm going to go ahead and push that color towards the middle without coloring the whole shoe, and that's going to make it look like the top of her foot is curved, which they are. There we go. So now she has a nice cute little curved shoe. And then last but not least, I'm going to take the silver. And this is our PC 949. And if you have a bigger Prisma set or even open stock, you can go ahead, I think for like $1.90, $89 or something like that at Michael's, you can buy individual colors. So like if you want to do the skin and you just want the skin part, you can go ahead and buy those 4 or 5 pencils, cheaper than buying a whole tin. And since I don't have gray in the tin, I use the silver, and it works out perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just doing a very light outline of her legs, and this is going to make it look like she has a little pair of white stockings on. And then I'm going to come up here to her boa. And I'm just very lightly, not even precisely, just very lightly outlining her little boa because I want this to look white. So the silver or the gray is going to give you a little highlight on anything that you want to color white. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a stump that I haven't used. I'll take one of these little hollow ones that just have a point on one end. I haven't used this one yet. Soak up the OMS. And now all I'm going to do is just the same way. I'm just kind of pushing the silver in towards the middle. And that's going to give me highlights and make her leg look like it's rounded. Same with over here. I'm just doing that outside. I'm just kind of blending that silver so it doesn't look so harsh. And it even, our tins even come with white. So if you want to lighten it up some, white is PC 938. I like to go ahead and I'm just going to cover over top of the silver and the white. And just kind of soften that up. Just kind of soften that up a little bit. Like I said, the color I think is going up much nicer when I put it on, post the picture. I'll post a picture before the video. So this is just more so to get the technique. So let me move it up here, see if you can see it a little bit better. Now the last part is going to be her belt and her hair. So for her belt, I'm going to go ahead and grab the violet again, and I'm just doing the sides. And then I'm going to take my blending stump and I'm going to do the same way I did the other ones. I'm pushing that color into the middle. Just like so. So it looks like her belt is round, you know. There you go. And by pushing, I don't have a stark white line going down. I have the colors blended nicely, but it's much lighter in the middle. Okay, and then for the last part, I'm going to take the Process Red again. I'm going to lightly cover her whole little headband up here. And then let's go ahead and get your blending stump. We'll blend that, get the lines out. Okay, we'll cover that. Now what I like to do is take some of the white there, and I'm just going to add it to the sides there. Not too much, a little bit here, not too much, just to kind of give it a little bit, this is just another way to get a little bit of that highlight. And then taking the same color, I'm going to go ahead and outline the sides underneath wherever it looks like it's laying on top of each other. The bow is laying on top. The inside here, inside over there. So I'm just kind of outlining that bow that's on the top of her head. the points. Then very lightly I'm going to blend that up. Same thing over here, bend that down, leaving some of that white. You're going to love me. I just realized I had my curl. Took a little bit of my brown. Just realized there's a curl there I didn't get. Okay, and then taking my, not the violet, taking my mulberry, I'm going to go ahead using the mulberry, and I'm going to just kind of color in the little dots that are on her ribbon here. And once again, it'll show up really nice on the picture of the finished card. Okay, so that's it. So finishing this card off really quickly, I'm going to take 2 yellows. I have PC 916 and 942, canary yellow and yellow ochre. And I'm coloring with the yellow, giving it a little definition with the darker color, some highlights. And what I'm going to do a little bit different is I'm using our colorless blender. And all this does, there's no color to it. And what it does is it just kind of blends colors together by pushing them into the grains of the paper. So it's another great tool for blending. Same thing here. I'm going to go ahead, get my green. I'm going to make it darker at the bottom. This is for the leaves. And then using my blender, I can go ahead and push that up and blend those. So without using the odorless mineral spirits, we can go ahead and use a colorless blender to help with the blending also. So I wanted to show you that other cool trick. This is great for really small places that you don't want to get wet. So I use this colorless blender quite a bit. So we got the flower, we got hair, bow, skin, eyes. The only part that we didn't get here was the seat. And here, I'll use the silver again. And the only thing you want to remember when you're doing anything like this, that it's still rounded. You still want the highlights. So the same way that we've done with the hair, the eyes, and all that, you're going to go ahead and just color the outsides, you know, the line, and then blend in towards the middle. So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just coloring and blending. Color. And then here, without even, I'll just grab this blender and I'm going to push it up and over. There you go. So now we're starting to blend that seat. Okay, so I can definitely do more blending. I want to keep this part here light, this part here light, and the rest of this dark. So I'll go ahead and finish. I have it finished on the final project, and I actually even put a little bit of stickles because I wanted her to seem a little sparkly too. So that is it. 3-part series. This one's a little longer because of the clothing. It takes a little bit longer to get the definition and the dimension. But I hope you like the series. Like I said, this is my Betsy stamp. Any kind of digital stamp, any kind of rubber stamp is going to work great. You have your pencils, you have your odorless mineral spirits, you have your blending stump, and you're good to go. So Thank you for sticking with me on these videos. There's many more on the Scrapbooks Blessings Club blog. You can find us at www.scrapbooksblessings.blogspot.com. Until next time, bye-bye.